Thank you. Call the May 2nd Planning and Zoning Commission meeting to order at 7:02. Can I get a roll call?
Brian Booz,
Here.
Lydia Galante,
Here.
Ms. Johnny,
Yep.
Joseph Lewis,
Here.
Jason Wertz.
Here.
And Vice Chair Wallet.
Here.
Motion to appoint him.
Can I get a motion to approve the agenda?
I move the motion that board approve the agenda.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Can I get a motion to approve the minutes from April 4th, 2023?
I move the motion that board approve the minutes from April 4th, 2023.
Second.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. The first item on the agenda tonight is PZ 22-1110. Can I get a motion to open the public hearing for PZ 221110?
I'll make that motion.
I second it.
Roll call, please.
Jason Wertz,
Yes.
Lydia Galante. Aye. Ms. Johnny,
Aye.
Brian Booz,
Aye.
Joseph Lewis.
Aye.
Chairman Wallach.
Aye. Staff, may you please present a report on this issue?
So 23 dash 1110 is for 508 East Turner Avenue. The packet includes all of the notification that was required by code for confirmation. So the first case tonight is a setback request. So welcome to the new Planning and Zoning Board that reviews setback requests. So, Mr. Hackney, who's here tonight, submitted a permit for an addition to his single-family residence, that's zoned R2. And the addition is to connect his, house to his existing detached two-car garage. So he would be going back towards the rear lot line and over a little bit to connect to the garage. The issue is that the garage does not meet primary structure setbacks. So the house and the garage meet their own individual setbacks. So the house meets all the primary structure setbacks as it is today. The garage meets all the detached accessory structure setbacks. But when you connect the garage to the house and make it part of the primary structure, the garage is too close to the side property line. So he's requesting a variance to permit a 5.98 foot setback in lieu of an 8 foot minimum required. And then, a 15.98 foot, combined side yard setback, in lieu of the 20 feet combined. And then the intention of the addition is to enlarge a kitchen, and then connect the house to the garage. So, they don't have to go through inclement weather to bring things in from the garage. The plans are included. I had one neighbor call me just asking about what the variances were for, and once it was described to him, he didn't have any comments or concerns. So that concludes my report.
Is the petitioner here to talk? Would you please come forward? I need to swear you in. Please repeat after me. I swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth.
Or to tell the truth and nothing but the truth.
Please state your name and address for the record.
Keith Hackney, 508 East Turner. Okay, reason for the addition is obviously to extend the kitchen. There is no kitchen in the house because it's so small. I want to tie into the garage. My wife fell in November and had surgery in December with knee surgery. And now she might have to have her back done. But I don't want her to have to go through an icy driveway, bringing in either the dog or the groceries or anything else. So she could just pull into the garage, go into the house, and be safe. It's basically what it's all about.
Are there any comments on the board members that asked the petition?
I have none. Past presentations.
Pretty good, yes. Okay, if there's no questions from the board, I ask resident questions. And do I call these two up first?
These are for the,
No, this is this one and that one.
no, that's 10.
Yeah. Is Linda D. John in the audience? You asked to have a to present? Okay, you're fine. Is there anybody else that wishes to have a comment on this petition? Okay, I see none.
I'd like to make a motion to close the public.
Can I get a second?
Second.
Roll call, please.
Jason Wertz,
Yes.
Brian Booz,
Aye.
Lydia Galante. Aye. Ms. Johnny.
Aye.
Joseph Lewis.
Aye.
Chairman Walk.
Aye. You can say.
Thank you.
Is there any further discussion? Anybody? Okay.
No, pretty straightforward.
Can I get a motion to approve the findings of fact for special use for PZ 231110?
I move the motion.
Can I get a second?
Second.
Roll call, please.
Ms. Johnny.
Aye.
Lydia Galante. Aye. Brian Booz.
Aye.
Joseph Lewis.
Aye.
Jason Wertz.
Yes.
Chairman Walk.
Aye. Can I get a motion to recommend approval of the variation for the side yard setback to the village board for PZ 231110?
I move the motion.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Amos Johnny,
Aye.
Brian Booth.
Aye.
Jason Wertz.
Yes.
Joseph Lewis.
Aye.
Lydia Galante. Aye. Chairman Wallach.
Aye. Can I get a motion to recommend approval of variation for the combined side yard setback to the village board for PZ 23-1110?
I move the motion.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Amos Johnny.
Aye.
Brian Booth.
Aye.
Lydia Galante. Aye. Joseph Lewis.
Aye.
Jason Wertz.
Yes.
Chairman Wallach.
Aye. To the petitioner, this will be advanced to the village board for approval.
Man.
Oh, he's already gone. Greetings.
He's a very busy man.
The next item on the agenda tonight is PZ 23-1109. Can I get a motion to open the public hearing for PZ 23-119?
Second.
Roll call, please.
Jason Wertz.
Yes.
Brian Booth.
Aye.
Lydia Galante. Aye. Amos Johnny.
Aye.
Joseph Lewis.
Aye.
Chairman Wallach.
Aye. Staff, may you please present the report?
All right, so the second case on the agenda tonight is PZ 23-1109. The property is it's an unincorporated address, so it's 1900 South Roselle Road. It's zoned currently R4 Single Family Residence District in Cook County. And the owner has requested a zoning map amendment upon annexation from the R4 Single Family Residence District to the B2 Convenience Shopping Center District. So the property is located at the corner of Schreiber and Roselle. And it's comprised of 4 separate parcels with a single family residence, a detached garage and a shed on the property. There is a driveway access from Schreiber Avenue. And this property and the property directly to the north, so there's another sort of white house directly north, are both unincorporated. So the petitioner, Kristen and Anthony Shalmetzi, who are here tonight, purchased the property earlier this year. They own and operate local Molly Maid business. And the intent upon purchasing the property was to relocate their business operations to the subject property. So the house would be used as an office for her operations, storage of supplies, equipment, all that kind of stuff. And then the site plan included in the packet shows that she would construct a parking lot for all of the Molly Maid vehicles that her employees use for them to park on the site. The petitioner originally contacted me about annexation back in 2021. I just wanted to put that on the record. And then they began operations in January 2023, which was not permitted in Cook County. So Cook County had her cease operations until she basically conformed to code. It was a code enforcement issue. Because the operation of a business out of the residentially zoned property per Cook County code was not permitted. So she has requested annexation into the village of Roselle and requested B2 Convenience Shopping Center District upon zoning or upon annexation. So the property on 3 sides is surrounded by residential R2 single family. And then directly across Roselle Road to the east is B2 Convenience Shopping Center District. So you have the Remax Center, and then further north is Southern Cafe and the former bank building. The findings of fact include, like, some of the things you need to include in your consideration is the consistency with the comprehensive plan. The future land use map in the 2016 comprehensive plan does indicate the property as multifamily residential. but the property is located on Roselle Road, which is a major arterial that runs through the village. So they have requested commercial zoning in order to operate the Malamade office out of the subject property. That includes the new parking lot that would be constructed north of the home. And the parking lot would be accessed by the existing curb cut on Schreiber Avenue. I don't think we've reached out to the Cook County Highway Department, but I doubt that they would allow a new access onto a major arterial from this location. And then they have indicated landscaping and screening of the property as much as possible from the adjoining residential properties. The main concern for staff would be lights from the vehicles being parked in the parking lot. I know we've discussed this, like for Timberleaf, we made sure that they had fencing and landscaping to block the lights from going into Hampton in the park. So that would be something that staff would have a concern about with the residential neighbors to the north and the west. So included in the packet are public comments that were received before Friday. And then there are additional public comments on the dais. So I think what we'll do here is we'll go through everybody who's signed up for public comment. And even if you submitted something in advance, if you want to speak, that's fine. And we will take it from there, but we'll have the petitioner present first too.
Yeah. Would the petitioner like to make a presentation?
Oh yeah, that's a good idea.
On advice of council, we're going to do one mass swear-in for anyone who wishes to speak. Would you please stand and raise your right hand? I swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. Thank you. Please state your name and address for the record.
My name is Kristen Shelmetzi. My home address is 300 Schreiber. The property in question is 1900 South Roselle.
Please make your statement.
I'd first like to thank you all for hearing our case today, especially in light of the block party that I wasn't invited to in the back of the room. I appreciate all of my neighbors' concerns as I live on that road and I travel that road all the time. It is a very busy intersection. Upon the week that we were in that office, in that space, it was abundantly clear that there's no way that business can be run out of that property without some major operational changes. And so we have sat down and come up with plans on how to ensure that we don't have masses of cars. And by masses of cars, I mean, I have 10 Molly-Made teams, which is 10 Molly-Made cars, that could leave the office anywhere from 6:45 up to 8 o'clock. The teams do not all go out at once. The teams do not work in the office. They work out in the community throughout Cook County and throughout DuPage County. That seems to be the biggest issue is the traffic pattern. So the other thing that we have done is require the teams when they leave the office, they're not allowed to cross traffic to take a left onto Schreiber. They must take a right and they must use Devon Avenue as their point of entrance and exit because that's the one with the actual turn lane. We also are going to be using Irving Park because a lot of the girls as company car drivers are nervous about that intersection anyway. So they'll be using Irving Park because it's a lighted control. There have been comments made and, I appreciate the constructive ones. Obviously, that's what we're here for. I'm a small business owner. We've had our business for 17 years. We're very active in the community. We help victims of domestic violence. We support the schools in many ways, aside from time, also in sponsorships. We're not a family that is looking to take over the neighborhood, but I am very concerned with how that lot looks. When I met with Ms. Wojcik, who sold the house to me, I met with her twice, once in 2021, and I declined. And then I met with her again this past year, in which I committed to purchasing the home. Her biggest thing was that we protected the property. She didn't want somebody to come in and knock the house down. She wanted us to be able to preserve the 1924 charm that the house had. We've done all of that on the inside. We've spent a significant amount of money just bringing things up to code. So whether it's a house we live in, whether it's a rental house, whether it's a Molly-Maid office, there was already a substantial amount of investment made. I know that someone thought that we take our customers' garbage from the houses back to our office. That is absolutely 100% false. That never happens. That would not fit any kind of cleaning company. I don't know who would do that. I do want to also make sure that, kind of going back to the whole traffic, and I apologize, but there's so much on social media and in these comments that I want to make sure I get to everything. There will not be any street parking allowed. I did present to the Board of Trustees the option, whichever location they felt the parking lot would be most acceptable, and the recommendation was on Roselle Road. The 4 lots combined are big enough to have 2 lots or one in the back of the garage on a different space versus the one along Roselle Road. Roselle Road seemed to make sense because it reflects what's across the street. We are prepared, as I said in my statement on the Facebook page, and as I've said to Karen and the Board of Trustees, whether it's landscaping, whether it's lighting, whatever needs to happen, we're prepared to do that. I, as a resident of the neighborhood, would rather have control of how that property is used than somebody who's not equally vested in the property values of that neighborhood. I'm sure I will have more, but at this point, I would just ask, you know, I am a small business owner like many people in the community, and I would ask for some consideration. I believe we want Roselle to be welcoming to businesses, whether it's mine or any others. I do believe we need to continue to grow the Roselle community, and I would like to be a part of that. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Okay, to the board, are there any questions to the petitioner? Any comments you wish to make to the petitioner?
Actually do have one for you. When Cook County said that your house was not zoned properly and you couldn't, then they shut down the operation of the business, did you then appeal to them to change the zoning code?
No, we did not appeal to them. Actually, we went and we did our hearing and everything and paid our, well, actually, we didn't even have to pay. Everything was dismissed upon, it was like a fix-it ticket for the electrical. And because we stopped operations right away, they understood that it was purely a move of ignorance. The definition of being unincorporated and what you can do in unincorporated. And when we bought the house, it was said, yes, this absolutely is a property that you can annex and rezone. Like, great, well, then that shouldn't be a problem. And like everyone in this room who's seen the original long-term plan of what the corridor could become, to me, it made a lot of sense. But we did discontinue. I have not continued to pursue this with the county because I really want to be a part of Roselle. We're on well and septic right now, which is working just fine. But it's just a matter of, you know, where we thought it would be, I don't want to say easier necessarily, but we really want to be a part of the community. And when you're in the county, we really are. I mean, it's the last for ambulances. It's the last for fire. We're kind of out. We get the sheriff. We don't really get the police. So that's why we look to annex and rezone.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Are there any other comments or questions to the petitioner?
How long was it? Is it in the report of how long it was functioning or operating?
1 week.
1 week?
Every day we had to change the operation a little bit because the first day was a hot mess. Cars all over. My girls parked in front of mailboxes and trash cans. And then the second day we maneuvered the way we put cars. We had trouble with the county. We got a part of the parking lot installed and I thought it was big enough. It wasn't. And so when we got all the girls' cars there, we had them attempt to park in the back lot of the garage, which is not, it's grass right now. And then we were in a crunch where we couldn't get the lot put in because of the weather.
Thank you.
Any other comments from the board? Questions? Okay. Thank you. Want me to ask this question? Or do we just gonna go
We'll
straight?
just go straight.
Here?
Yep.
Have a list of people who said they wanted to speak. And so I'm going to ask Jose and Daniel. I'm sorry, I'm gonna get your name wrong. I can't tell if that's a C or an L. Lazarus?
Are you the attorney representing the?
Yes,
I
please.
just want to give it a brief opening statement,
Would you?
and then I will turn it over to a number of the public comments. Thank you very much, all of you, Council Castaldo, chairs and representatives. John C. Shakota of Ehrenberg Golgan in Chicago. I represent Michelle and Michael Riccia, who are the adjacent property owners on all sides of this property, as well as a number of the residents of the community that's ingress at Schreiber and Roselle Road. For the record, I have a group exhibit number 1 I'd like to file as part of the record, which has a number of written comments, as well as photos, as well as the northern gateway to Roselle master plan for the village of Roselle. And I'd ask leave to file that, council. Thank you. Very briefly, I want to give just a quick overview. I want to thank you all, obviously, for your time as volunteers. I know what this is all about, and it's appreciated. Simply put, this property is not the property for this type of use. The village of Roselle took painstaking time and energy with a master plan. The master plan is clear on its face that this was to be used as multifamily. If you look at the east side of Roselle at Schreiber versus the west side, it is totally a different complexion as to how the property is used. The east side of Roselle Road is business oriented. The west side of Roselle is residential oriented. This is a residential community that has residences, and we are very concerned under the LaSalle Sinclair test, which obviously Council Castaldo knows quite well, that the health, safety, and welfare of the community will be disturbed, and it will violate LaSalle. If this, first of all, we object to the zoning, the annexation. Second, if there's annexation, we object to any business zoning whatsoever. I think this is a clear case. The residents will obviously expound on their perceptions of traffic, of safety, of noise, and whatever else. But I hope you take this, and I know you will take this and look at this very closely. And I think at the end of the day, this is one where I would ask for your due consideration to deny any annexation, as well as to deny, obviously, any rezoning. I would reserve my time at the end after the last speaker to give a closing position. Thank you.
Posadas, Jose and Daniel, if you have a comment, now's your time. One sec, please state your name and address.
Daniel Casadas, 40 Schreiber Avenue in Roselle.
Great, thanks.
And I don't want to spend a lot of time on it, but really it's, I thought the idea of the paper was just to hand something in to show that we're present here. That said, I've lived on Schreiber for about 40 years, and it's a bad idea. Doesn't work in that area. There's a lot of reasons why. I'm sure everyone can attest to it. And that's about it.
Okay, thank you for your comment.
My name is Jose Casares. I'm at 23 West Schreiber. And my concern is in the future, once you change the zoning, what other type of business we might get in there? You know, you can get a car wash, you know, you're gonna line up cars all over Roselle Road or Schreiber. That's my concern with the zoning change.
Thank you very much. Gina Hamilton. If you have a comment, you may come forward. Gina.
Gina Hamilton, 335 Arthur Avenue. I've been a Roselle resident for 26 years. I personally witnessed the chaos that happened the first week that this all was going on. Cars not only parked all over the street, all over the grass in the property. It was unbelievable. That's a blind turn for where the buses turn down to come when the school kids get on the bus. It's very dangerous. That whole right-hand lane just kind of disappears when you're making that right-hand turn. Not only concerned about our property value. I mean, no offense, but it was listed as a residential property. They could have gone across the street where the Remax is. There's plenty of places available there. There's a big industrial park in Roselle, plenty of places there. Why pick a residential property to decide, oh, I want to make it commercial? Just ignorance is not bliss. I mean, I just don't take that excuse. That's ridiculous. Thank you.
Juan Lavas of Archer Avenue. Arthur, good. Thank you. I am indeed.
Can't read my own.
Good evening. I'm a little disappointed you didn't remember to get my name right. It's Lee. That's my father, served on the zoning board here for many years. I've been here for 69 years, okay?
It was probably before my time. I was on it for.
Yeah, I'm sure.
I was on the zoning board for 19 myself, so I don't think we crossed paths, no.
Well, anyway, but thank you for what you do. But I'm also opposed to the proposal. You know, as a businessman, I kind of like to think of maybe alternatives that we can come to a solution. I'll propose something at the end, but the way that this proposal stands is not very good. We've got that driveway, you're going to throw about 100 cars in there. I think in 85 by 30, I figured it out. You could probably fit in there probably 30 cars. So you got 30 cars coming in, 30 cars going out, and then you're going to have the employees park their cars there during the vehicle. So that's 100 cars. That's a very dangerous intersection. Okay. You've got a divided highway, you got a hill, part of that property, and on the other side as well, kind of makes it a blind corner. So if you're not an experienced driver, it's dangerous. And I'm an experienced driver. I've been obviously living there a long time. It's a dangerous corner. Now we're going to throw 100 extra cars during school bus hours, rush hour. Again, I don't think that that's a very good idea. So traffic is my number one concern. That time of the day too, you got a lot of school buses, you got students on the corners. I walk that area every morning. The other things, it just doesn't really fit. The area is kind of a quaint, quiet area. I don't understand how you throw 30 cars in there and then you're going to throw them on Schreiber and have them go through the neighborhood. That also doesn't make sense. I don't really see any benefit to the village or to the residents, only to the petitioner. And I don't think that that's reason enough alone that you should approve it. I think that if you were to annex the property, a solution I would pose, if you want to throw her a bone, because this is not personal. This is just trying to do what we're trying to do for the neighborhood, keep it right. If you want to buy the property, go ahead, but don't rezone it for this kind of operation. It just doesn't fit. Okay. I know we have to do something to that area. I've lived here a long time. You've got a hill there, you've got flooding. Now you're going to throw a parking lot and there's going to probably throw more water towards corner Marion, May, and Arthur, which is a disaster as it is every time we get a lot of rain. So you got flooding considerations, you got traffic considerations, you got safety considerations. Just doesn't make sense. I would like the village to come up. Hopefully at some point we can annex that whole corner because you own a piece of that property that's closer to the Ocean O'Hare already. If we can come up with a comprehensive plan that deals with the drainage, the traffic, and the safety, that makes sense. This is already in somewhat of an eclectic area. I'll admit that. I live there, but this only makes it worse. And again, once you set this precedent, you're going to open it up for other people to continue this. So I'm asking you to not accept the petitioner's proposal. Thank you.
Lori Dempsey of Logan Street.
Lori Dempsey, 550 Logan Street. I've been a resident of this neighborhood for 12 years. And I am here today to express my full support for the rezoning petition. I've personally known the Shelmetzi family for over a decade, and I can attest that they are thoughtful and conscientious neighbors. Kristen, in particular, has dedicated many years to growing and nurturing a well-respected franchise, which she owns and operates as a female entrepreneur, which I personally support. I have complete confidence that Kristen has no intention of doing anything that would negatively impact property values in our neighborhood. In fact, as homeowners in this same community, it would be irresponsible for them to take actions that would harm their own residential investments. I've taken the time to review their proposed beautification and improvement plans, which include curb appeal enhancements to make the property look great and traffic control measures that will not disrupt our neighborhood. And I'd like to pause for a moment to say, if you actually stop and listen to what the Shelmetzis are proposing, rather than look back on the experience of 1 week where they were learning about how to operate the business, you will see that they've solved all the problems that have thus been presented, and absolutely not 100 cars, more like the 30 that were already mentioned as that Kristen Shelmetzi mentioned in her own address. So we are not talking about 100 cars going through the neighborhood. We are talking about a reasonable amount of cars going through the neighborhood. As a fellow community member to those others sitting in the room as well, who drives on Schreiber during the high commute times in the morning, I can attest that during that limited time, she did make daily improvements. So every day it got better and better, understanding what was working and what was not working, to try to ease the traffic flow. And during this break that she had to cease operations, she did develop a plan to shield all the necessary business vehicles from view and as reasonably possible in the traffic pattern. I'm confident that if everyone in the room would just give Kristen a chance to propose, to run with the plan that she has, they would realize that everything is different than how it was operating originally. Over the years, the board has considered the property on the west side of Roselle Road as a target for commercial development. We all know that. Personally, I believe a business like Kristen's is more suitable for this area than the previously proposed ideas like a hotel. The nature of Kristen's business means that the only traffic will be from actual employees that Kristen employs personally, coming and going, and because it's also rare for customers to visit. So it really will only be her employees that are coming and going. Additionally, as a small business, the number of employees will not really have a significant impact on the community. In closing, the Shelmetzis are good neighbors who have a solid improvement plan that will make their property look more like a residence than a business. Kristen is not a selfish business owner, but a conscientious employer who gives back to the community, treats her employees well, and understands that her clientele comes from the community that she serves. Her business will bring much needed tax dollars to Roselle without attracting a large number of unknown visitors to the neighborhood. For these reasons, I strongly support the petition for rezoning. Thank you.
I'd like to remind the audience that the speaker is making public comment to the board, and that the board would appreciate it if the audience would be quiet so the board could hear the speaker. Not just the speaker you agree with, but speakers you may not agree with. May I have Rich Foley of Arthur Avenue up? if you wish to make a comment.
I am Rich Frawley, again, 350 Arthur Avenue, and I missed, what was the lady's name in the gold here?
Erin.
Erin, I'm sorry. Just one thing that I had heard originally was this whole thing going on that she bought the place, now we're going to change it. We did this after the fact. But tonight you mentioned that in 2001, she already reached out to you about annexing in. Whatever came of that when she reached out to you in 2001, if this was purchased in 2021, and if it was purchased now this year?
She didn't submit a petition for annexation. She just inquired about the costs associated with the annexation.
At that, what do you do at that point? You have posted signs back then saying we're trying to annex this in, because again, the house was sold as a residential.
No, so she was just inquiring about it. People who are unincorporated inquire about annexation all the time. I provide them the costs associated with annexing that the village assesses property owners. And it's up to the property owner to request annexation from the village. She did not do so until 2023.
Okay, and then secondly, you mentioned about the traffic patterns coming out and that you didn't think that they would allow them to come out onto Roselle Road. Is that, what would be the reason behind that, that we'd want to bring them out onto Schreiber and through the neighborhood instead of back out onto Roselle Road? It looks like you're trying to compare us to the other side of the street. All those businesses on the other side exit onto Roselle Road. It's just as busy on that side as is ours. So if anything, I'd rather the traffic not come on into the residential area and go out onto Roselle.
So the village of Roselle doesn't have any jurisdiction over Roselle Road. It would be a Cook County Highway Department decision.
But you're the ones allowing them to come into Roselle, right? Right now it is Cook County's, right?
Correct.
Wouldn't change either way. It's still Cook County Road.
Right, but why, but again, you're trying to make
Never
our
own the
side, you're
road.
trying to make our side of the street just like across the street. Pancake House, all the other ones, they all pull right onto Roselle Road. They don't go back through the neighborhood or through Turner. They come right onto Roselle Road. Just, they have as much time to pick up or slow down as we would. What you're trying to propose here.
Yeah, so Cook County, any new access off of Roselle Road would have to be approved by the jurisdictional body, which is not the village of Roselle. Cook County Highway Department, in my conversations with them about the village-owned parcel farther north, has expressed concerns about access. So it is my assumption that Cook County would likely not approve a new access point to this property due to its location, but they can pursue that with Cook County if they want to.
And how does it affect, once you give them, you change the zoning here? How does it affect any neighbor touching them? They now say, I want to jump in and do the same thing. I want to go to commercial.
Anyone can request a zoning map amendment.
Doesn't matter that you're touching a lot that you guys have said changed or annexed back in. It does or does not?
It does not.
Does not. Again, we're just opposed to the idea. We've lived there for 20-something years. I actually work by Kristen. I'm not opposed to Kristen doing the business. I'm opposed to any business coming in here to change the residential profile of our area.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Adriana and Dino Salerno. Okay, thank you. Andrew Dunkas of Candlelight, thank you.
Rough writing there, sorry. Andrew Yonkis, 346 Candlelight Court in Roselle. Echoing some of the other folks that are, have walked up here, we're not the lynch mob. We're not here to go after anyone personally. We're looking after the safety of the neighborhood. We're looking after the safety of all the people inside the neighborhood. I'm a big supporter of small businesses. I hire MBE, WBE, DBE all the time, so I get it. Concerns that have already been talked about, the Irving Park entrance, bringing people through the neighborhood. And yeah, the business is 10 cars today. What small business doesn't want to be bigger? Usually they want to grow a little bit. I'm sure at one point, the business had 3 cars. Now they have 10. They expand. Usually when you go buy a nice place like this, you want to expand a business. So it could definitely go up, and there's no limitation on that whatsoever. So we have that concern. Again, no personal intentions. And I understand that family is a has done a lot for the community, and we're all very thankful for that. But none of that really matters here. What matters is what's this property going to do and how are they going to use it and how is it going to affect the community in that area, and is it going to be dangerous? So to me, I did also witness the first couple of days, and I get it, sure, first couple of days growing pains, that's fine. But either way, if you have 10 cars there and they're teams, you could have potentially 40 cars go there if you have 4 people in each one of those cars. Okay, and it just grows. So the concern is for the people in the neighborhood, the safety of those coming in and off of Roselle Road right there. We respect the family, we respect the business, just not the right location. So, thank you.
Eric and or Rachel Adams.
Eric and Rochelle Adams, 1785 Grant Street. We strongly oppose. It's not a fit for a lot of the same reasons, primarily traffic. I look at this home, it's almost 100-year-old farm home. And I understand the mandates they put on businesses today to get proper zoning approved. I see occupancy and fire sprinklers and ADA accessibility, fire truck turnaround. There's so many variables that go into it. And this home, to me, it's not even suitable for residents, let alone suitable for a business. And having your staff come and go throughout the day, it's just not safe. It is in a residential neighborhood. There's just no debate. You come out of the parking lot, you go in the parking lot or driveway, and it's our neighborhood. So it's not personal. I know in some cases trying to make it personal, but it's not personal. If any business was proposing to be there and operating, it's just truly not a fit for our neighborhood.
And if you are familiar with that area, speed limit goes from 45. After Schreiber, it goes down to 35. So when you turn in on Schreiber to make a right, you're still easily doing 20 miles an hour. And if you have to wait for cars to pull into her 2-car radius driveway, it's an accident waiting to happen. I don't know if you guys know, years back, there was a man hit on a bicycle that lived in the house because it's already such a high traffic area. So if any of you live back there, I would even challenge you to come for 1 week during those hours and already see how many cars we wait to get out on either Schreiber or Irving, and to add her fleet, which is not 10, you have pictures, add her fleet of 18 to 20 cars. It just can't handle it back there. It's a cute house and it needs to just stay a house. It's not safe for, it's just not safe.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Angela Kumbas.
Hi, Angela Kumler, 345 Arthur Avenue. I strongly oppose the rezoning of the 1900 South Roselle property. I've also seen the congestion it creates in the mornings, and I specifically have concerns for the buses, as those are the buses my kids ride and will ride to school. And now hearing tonight for the first time that those cars are going to be actually put through the neighborhood puts more concern on me, because my kids play in the neighborhood and they go visit friends at other houses, and knowing that there's going to be increased traffic where my children play is, again, very concerning to me. I don't think it brings any economic value to the village of Roselle, and I believe that the petitioner is looking for a parking lot. And again, as many have said, I don't think it's the proper place for one. I greatly worry what door this is going to open for others to do the same and continue to come into our residential, our neighborhood, and continue to bring more businesses. So it's not about this individual business, but about the opportunity for more people to continue to do this in what should be and is a neighborhood. I'm very supportive of small businesses. My husband and I have our own small business that we've owned for 14 years. But at what point does the cost outweigh the benefits of the community? Thank you.
Eric Adams. Donnie of Arthur Avenue. Donnie. Dory. I'm sorry. I didn't take a cursive reading class recently.
We're gonna do this name sign up every meeting now, just to
Just to hear me say the name. Yes. Gonna have them type it.
Dori Gillespie is 43 Arthur Avenue. We've been residents there for about 38 years. We live right across from that hill. Talk about. Really, I think that and everything that's being said here, I agree with. I'm opposed to the operation to going in, and we're not here to badmouth Kristen anyway, because we know she's very, very good up and coming, and I know she's doing the best. However, we're setting a precedent here with someone moving into a residential zoned area and then trying to convert it to commercial. So is that going to be our mode of operation that we're going to accept that going forward? The traffic is major because it's already, as people said, a bad corner. When you come in to Schreiber Avenue, and if you happen to live on the south side of Schreiber, you can't make it into your driveway without someone trying to hit you from behind. And now we're adding more people into it. Coming out onto Roselle Road would have been an option, possibly, but Roselle Road is a very dangerous road in that area, especially with people coming off the expressway. The storage of cars there is a concern because it's a 24/7 operation for storage of cars. The daytime is going to be the maid's cars, and in the evening it's going to be the Molly maid cars. So it's living next to a used car lot, really, at all times. They'd have to have some kind of protection, low lighting, as I think Kristen mentioned that she wants to put low lighting in, and she'd have to. She was going to store cars there. So now you've got a visual from that from the residents around. The comment about wanting to use Irving Park Road means they are fishing through the neighborhood now. And that was one of our major concerns when the hotel was being considered. We had gotten approval from the mayor and the trustees and from the village administrator at the time that if they were to do something with that property on Arthur and Roselle for the hotel that was planned at one time, that they would do ingress and egress from Roselle Road and stay off of Schreiber. And the reason we wanted them off not Schreiber, but off of Arthur. And the reason we wanted them off of Arthur was because when people get onto Arthur, they start fishing through the residence. And that's dangerous when you have people who don't know the way around, and now you're adding more traffic where children are playing. We already have problems with people putting stop signs and yield signs and so forth in that area. So adding to that is not appropriate. My final point is this was never on the strategic plan for commercial. And I know it's been said a few times, it's always been zoned residential. That was zone residential for row houses. We're not too happy about that, but it was residential. So at no point in time was this viewed as a commercial property. So coming in after the fact, buying a residential property, and then deciding to put it as commercial when the intent all along was for it to be commercial, I think is a bad precedent. Thank you.
Michael and Michelle, Rachel?
Hello, everyone. Thank you for taking the time to hear our opinions. We are Michelle and my husband, Michael Riccia. We are residents of Roselle for 35 to 45 years. I want to begin by saying that this is not a personal attack against Kristen, her family, or any of that, or a lack of support for anyone's business. We are, having been business owners our entire lives, we understand what that means, including placing your business within a commercial area, not residential. We own the properties north of 1900 and also west of 1900, which makes us directly affected by these proposed changes. Our backyards all meet at the northwest corner of 1900's property. The house on 1900 is at the southeast corner on Roselle Road, which puts all business activity behind it, not in front of it like you see in the commercial area across Roselle Road. These backyards are where our families, our grandchildren play, who we care for 3 or more days a week. This puts them within feet of this proposed active commercial parking lot. It is a complete intrusion on their safety to have these strangers driving their cars in and around this property just feet away from them. This is a burden placed on our entire family, which includes 3 more homes and 3 more families. This intersection of Schreiber and Roselle Road is the main road used for this neighborhood. As has been stated, the high speeds along Roselle Road with the large volume of school buses and residents has already made this an unsafe intersection. This entire area of Roselle Road is a frenzy due to the speed limit, even where it is supposed to be 30 miles an hour. Crossing over to get to Turner Park is dangerous. We have lost a close family friend, Efren Diaz, who was run down and killed by a resident trying to get across the speeding cars and traffic of this dangerous area. This is the severity of how unsafe it is. Adding a fleet of cars along with 25 employee cars to this unnecessarily is simply reckless. This proposed parking lot will still enter and exit onto Schreiber Avenue, which does not remedy the high traffic. What will be the effects on flooding if the parking lot is grown even larger? And this is already a low-lying area that floods. It is our goal and always has been to maintain our properties to keep the beauty of this peaceful family neighborhood. A commercial business is not in alignment with that goal. Flashy, now hiring signs in all the windows, cars all over the property, on the grass, does not add charm of this home or neighborhood. We have watched how our town has evolved and grown, but in what direction will it go with this decision? One's business should never come at a cost or burden to those around it. While most will just drive by, we will live with every single day. We ask you to give us consideration and concern. Thank you for your service.
Thank you.
Michelle Donaldson.
Donaldson, 35 Arthur Avenue. I've been a resident for 46 years in Roselle. And I think we have kind of a cart before the horse kind of case here. I am. Oh, I'm sorry. Is that better? Can everyone hear me? Okay, sorry. Not only am I a resident of Roselle, I am also a safety administrator and a school bus driver. We service 11 schools out of that area for first student. Our buses run through that neighborhood all day long, middays for the ELC, early learning centers. There is not enough room to turn a 38 to 40-foot school bus from Roselle Road onto Schreiber before addressing that driveway. Like people have said before me coming up here, when you turn that corner, it is a blind corner, even in a school bus. Even as slow as we go, it is a very dangerous corner. On January 9th, I happened to be in the dispatch center and heard many buses calling in, the one Aldrin 3B bus and the Frost bus. They could not make the turn. Students on board, the bus hanging out on the Roselle Road. For us, that's a major safety concern. And myself being a safety officer, I was about ready to jump in a car and go down there and see what was going on. Fortunately, I got the pictures, and this has nothing to do with Kristen, Sean, Betsy, or Anthony. I've known them for a decade as well, and with Miss Dempsey as well. They're wonderful people. However, this is not the place for a business. It is not safe. It's not safe for our children that ride on our buses every day. Thank you.
Dina Monroe.
Just say the address, Terry.
David.
Slaughtered.
I killed it. I can't curse it.
I'll help you out there. I'm Dina Monaco Boland. I'm at 420 North Roselle Road. I and my husband have been residents of Roselle for the past 30 years. We are the house just south of the property. We are in the southwest corner of Roselle and Schreiber. We are directly affected just like the Richias are. That corner that people are talking about, I can't tell you how many times I have almost been rear-ended coming in, trying to make that left-hand turn into my driveway. My driveway runs off of Schreiber. And I not only do people not want to slow down turning onto Schreiber, as I'm, they also will try to, if I'm slowed down, like if I'm turning onto Schreiber and let's say somebody is coming up on Schreiber and I can't turn into my driveway, I've had people go around me, and it's, I'm telling you, there have been so many near misses. It's not even funny. I can't even imagine how much worse it is going to be with having the extra traffic. And that is why I am opposed to this business there. Not only that, I look at going forward, now that that property is zoned commercial, let's say that it grows beyond the means they're capable to handle it. And Kristen moves, and that would be great for her, to another property. And now what else is going to move into that property? And how does that directly affect me? I don't even know, because I know that the future plans is to bulldoze my home, which has been there longer than that house. The people that own my house actually owned the property that Kristen's house is on. I know I'm actually only the second owner of that house. My house was built in 1933. Kristen's house was not built in 1924. It's not that old. I was the people that own my house were the aunt and uncle of the people that own Kristen's house. So I have kind of a personal relationship with the previous owners of the house before the daughter inherited it, and the grandchildren. So I just want to say that I do have concerns. Maybe none of that matters if my house is going to be bulldozed in a few years. I don't know. But as for the moment, I have a lot of concerns because I do still live there. I still do love my house, and I'd like to be able to get in and out of my house without dying from a traffic accident. So thank you.
Harry. Okay.
Harry Bolin, 420 North Roselle Road. I couldn't say it any better than my wife just did. The only thing I do want to add is this past winter, we actually had a car on our property because of the ticket or the sign that everybody has in it as soon as they make that turn to accelerate. Now I'm starting to think, what about people that are running late for work and trying to get to work on time, and all of a sudden there's a school bus there and letting kids out? I just don't want to even imagine the problems it could be because people are in such a big hurry as soon as they hit Schreiber and take off. Thank you.
Linda D. John.
Really here just to support my neighbors. I've lived in Roselle, Linda D. John, 526 Seward Street, Roselle, Illinois. We've been in the area for 37 years. And where I live, I don't think that I would be affected by this, but I'm here to support those that would be affected. And not only the people who live directly to the north, south, or across the street from this particular home in question, it would also affect the homes and neighbor areas where these extra cars would be maybe entering the area from Irving Park or other side streets along Roselle Road. You know, we're a neighborhood of a lot of kids and people walking dogs and kids on bicycles. It's just that kind of neighborhood. It's not meant to have any business in it. And we just have so many other places that are already zoned for business. And that's where I think that this business should go. I'm all in support of a woman-owned business and people having, you know, that opportunity, but this is just not the location for it. Thank you.
Is there anyone else that wishes to make a comment for the record that would add to the discussion?
You hear me?
Yes.
Anthony Shalmetzi, I'm Kristen's husband. So first I'd like to thank everyone in the crowd for the respectful comments, because I think leading up to this, there was a bit of contention, and I appreciate the respectful. We absolutely understand and respect the concerns of everyone in the community. I was going to get up here and talk about my wife's character, but I don't think I need to do that. Everyone, even the people that are opposed, are You know, they understand that we are not here to try to ruin the neighborhood. We live there, right? We made a commitment to the lady that we bought the place from to maintain it in the state that it is in. Went to lots of pains to make sure that it stayed in the same state exterior. We want to beautify it, right? And so that's important. In terms of the traffic concerns, the deck that you're going to get or the slides you're going to get are not at all representative of what happened. There were 2 days when it was just chaos and it was off. And that's because there was no logistic plan. We just kind of we moved everything in over the weekend and didn't think about that. That is not the way the traffic flow is going to be, and it's not going to be the way the impact of the neighborhood will be. There is a small flow of cars in over about a 45-minute period of about 15 cars, okay? They come in, they get their stuff, they leave in their cars, all right? It's not an undue burden. We are willing to do whatever recommendation, requirement the board and the commission like. If there are any specific things that we need to address to ensure that these concerns are taken care of, we will do so. So I just want to point out that the photos, for example, that you're going to see are not at all representative. People ran out in those 2 days and took pictures. That's not how it's going to be. So I just want to make sure that you're not misled by that. Thank you.
Would you like to come back up, sir?
No, there's a woman.
Was there another?
There's one
person?
more behind you.
Okay. Please approach and state your name and address.
Hi, my name is Tiffany Fry. I'm at 515 Logan Street. As everyone said, this just kind of some feedback is not personal. We love the families and a lot of the families in the neighborhood. It's a great neighborhood. Some concerns would be what could be a future business that can move there? Who knows? And it could be in 5 years from now. We've lived in the neighborhood a little over 10 years. You know, we plan to live here maybe 10 or 15 more. Like family members, parents, like in the winter, it's dark by 4. So it's a very dangerous area. I mean, I've almost had near misses many times turning onto that area. Like if someone stopped or like if parents are coming who are older to visit, children, buses, all of that is very concerning. Also just having that neighborhood feel, property values, a lot of us have spent a lot of money, like 100,000, 200,000 on maintaining our homes over the years. And just keeping that kind of a small town feel. And I kind of looked at the website for the zoning, and here's like an excerpt I'd like to read. It says, how can I find out whether I can open or operate my business in a certain location? The Village of Roselle zoning ordinance limits the way in which owners of property may utilize their property. So the best way to determine whether one can open or operate their business is to call the planning and zoning staff at 630-980-2000. Even so, the zoning ordinance limits the way in which owners of property may utilize their property differently, depending upon the location of their property. For example, in residential areas, the zoning ordinance prohibits businesses such as offices, restaurants, shops, warehouses, and factories because the layout, noise, traffic, etc. of such businesses would disturb the residential neighborhood in addition to the residents of the neighborhood. Please consider this when making the decision.
Thank you.
Is there anybody else that would like to make a comment? Okay. Commissioner?
Oh, no, there's
Is
one.
there someone in the back? Sir? Just, if you're still interested in making another comment, raise your hand so I can see how many more we have. Okay, thank you very much.
Live on 550 Sword. I would not
Florian Jerkow.
Your name, sir?
Florian Jerkow. What I'm concerned, that corner never even gets plowed during the winter time properly. So we slip and slide in that corner. So it's gonna be more accidents there. So far in that area has been a few accidents. It's very close to the park. So I totally oppose to it.
Get your address again.
515 Seward,
515.
Seward.
Thank you.
And also, it wasn't 10 cars there. It was more like 40. We know that.
Would the petitioner like to speak?
So there are just a couple of things that I want to clarify. One is that you cannot apply to have your property annexed and rezoned unless you own it. So when I spoke with Karen, I don't want anyone to think that Karen didn't do something because she didn't do it because I didn't buy the property then. I was simply inquiring. As it stands today, I continue to be unincorporated Cook County. So I do agree with all of my neighbors on the traffic in that corner. And again, there are other options that we've talked about. I've already got two girls who, instead of driving their cars to the office, they drive my car to and from home and pick up their partners to help eliminate traffic. And that's just something we did, even though we're currently now in Glendale Heights, to help test, how does this work? Does it help eliminate some of the traffic? The beauty of being a small business owner is that we are really nimble. So if something's not working, you know, it doesn't take a whole lot to change it. And so traffic being one of those, while I do understand everyone's concern, and I share that, and I was outside, you saw me, most of you saw me outside those mornings that traffic was just atrocious. It was, excuse my French, a shit show. And so I get that, and I don't want that to happen again. I have no intentions of that repeating itself. As I stated, whether we stagger shifts, whether the girls drive my cars to and from home and pick up their partners to eliminate some of their cars. I own 15 cars and my own family cars, okay? So what you saw, in addition to the cars that are logoed, are cars that were inoperable. I only own 15, you can check the titles, okay? So 10 cars are in use, others are for breakdowns, some are new, waiting to be integrated into the fleet. Of all my girls, most carpool. So the most that anybody would have seen in January was 30 total cars. It looked like a lot more because we didn't have a parking lot. So again, I apologize to all my neighbors for causing you all undue stress in January. That is not my intent. But I do hope that the board will consider allowing us to have a quiet office that operates Monday through Friday. You'll see cars in the morning, yes. In the afternoon, you don't really see them because they all come in and out anywhere from noon to 4 o'clock. Thank you.
And the attorney, please.
For the record, again, John C. Shakota on behalf of the Reaches as well as the neighbors adjacent to the property surrounding 1900 South Roselle. For the record, I'd like to tender. I'd also like everyone that is here that took the time to please stand who is objecting to this proposal. As you can see, there's overwhelming support for this objection. Thank you all for taking your time out of your busy lives to be here. It obviously means very much to them. I think it should mean very much to the village. I know it will mean very much to you. But when you stack the safety, the traffic, the welfare, the diminution in property values, if we had to submit evidence, I think it's overwhelming that any annexation, any rezoning would be a violation of the LaSalle Sinclair factors. And I think this is just not the right place. It's not the right time for this particular business. Thank you for your attention.
Does the commission Does the commission have any other questions or statements before we close?
I have a whole bunch of records.
Okay, we have to read some,
We can answer the, how many? Excuse me? Aren't you guys going to read?
yeah, we're looking at that right now.
Yeah, that's what we're talking about right now. Sorry, there's like 20 that were submitted in advance, so I just want to make sure I have everything.
Gotta read them. We're gonna read the comments that had been provided to the board ahead of the meeting in a written form. Karen, would you please read them into the record?
Yes. The first is from Marcia Sullivan. Dear Ms. Brooks, I'm writing with concerns regarding the possible annexation rezoning of the above property. The letter received from Molly Maid states the intent for this property is to run my customer service office for Molly Maid there. My business will install a parking lot on the side of the house nearest Roselle Road. Per the public hearing notice, the subject property is zoned R4 Single Family Residence District in unincorporated Cook County. My question is, why is a business being allowed to run out of a property that is zoned R4 Single Family Residence in unincorporated Cook County? I do not believe that Molly Maid is I do not doubt that Molly Maid is a fine business, but how was that allowed in the first place? Thank you for considering the concerns, which are as follows. Traffic flow. The proposed parking lot on the east side, on the side of the house nearest Roselle Road seems to present multiple difficulties for the flow of traffic to proceed. The Molly Maid hours of operation from 7:30 a.m. to approximately 3 p.m. will increase the flow of traffic going south on Roselle Road from Schreiber Avenue is a thoroughfare for school buses and residents coming into and out of this residential area. We have existing traffic moving south on Roselle Road, traffic coming off of the Elgin O'Hare going south on Roselle Road, traffic turning right onto Schreiber Avenue off of Roselle Road, traffic turning right onto Roselle Road off of Schreiber Avenue, traffic turning left onto Roselle Road off of Schreiber Avenue, and traffic turning left onto Schreiber Avenue off of Roselle Road. Now add to that traffic from the Molly Maid parking lot with operating hours from 7:30 a.m. to approximately 3 p.m. We have had 4 fatal tragedies occur over approximately the last 25 years on Roselle Road. Curb appeal coming south into Roselle. We have beautiful Turner Pond and Park on Roselle Road, which is a welcoming site to visitors coming south down Roselle Road into our community. Unfortunately, just north and across the street from Turner Pond is an abandoned gas station for how many years? Add to that a potential parking lot off of Roselle Road, just north and west of the abandoned gas station. It may be quite a sight. The negative impression of a concrete parking lot, commercial business in a residential community, and an abandoned site, gas station, does not go unnoticed. Flooding. With the bridge, abandoned gas station, and commercial businesses on the east side of Roselle Road, we already have a great deal of concrete in this area. It would be our hope that you would consider the effect of the parking lot within our neighborhood in times of heavy rains. This area is also at a higher elevation than south of us on Roselle Road. It seems we need to keep the existing ground and soil intact to absorb rainwater and help prevent possible flooding. We appreciate and love living in Roselle. We appreciate the quality of life that we are able to enjoy and the level of care that is provided to its residents. We are certain that the Village of Roselle's decision regarding this area will be taken into large consideration as the negative impact with traffic flow, safety for residents and visitors, potential overflow of rainwater, and curb appeal coming south into the Roselle community. We trust the village planning will safeguard the reasons why we chose Roselle as a community to live, keep the Village of Roselle safe and beautiful for all of us who live here and come here to visit and patronize. Thank you for considering the above concerns. Sincerely, Marcia Sullivan, 31 Schreiber Avenue. The next is from Philip Wyka of 514 May Street. Hello, I cannot attend the board meeting tonight due to my daughter's confirmation. I'm writing to protest the lot on 1900 South Roselle Road. This lot is in a residential neighborhood. The location is not safe already to cross Roselle Road while exiting Schreiber Avenue. Adding more congestion to that area with the expansion of 390 will be a mess. Also, you have all of the school buses exiting and entering at Schreiber Avenue. It's not my fault the owner did not do the research of the area before it was purchased. Didn't the realtor explain to the new owner or help do the research before it was bought? With all the vacant commercial property available in Roselle, such as across the street of the property along Irving Park Road, there are many other vacant businesses with parking to park all the Molly-made vehicles. One perfect location would be the vacant Little Market store. It's perfect, large parking lot. I really oppose the idea of this lot going commercial. Whatever happened to the idea about the village building new homes along the entryway into Roselle? Now you're considering commercial. That's what you want to see while entering Roselle with your new streetscape ideas, a Molly-made business operating out of a home. Totally against it. Thank you for letting me voice my opinion. Chris Abate, Christine and Lawrence Abate. To whom it may concern, it has come to our attention that the property located at 1900 Roselle Road is in the process of possibly being rezoned to a commercial property. This is quite a concerning issue for us and most residents residing in this quiet, family-oriented neighborhood. Safety is of great concern, especially for the children in this area. The increase in traffic this business would pose is not something residents should be burdened with. We have witnessed a literal parking lot on their residential driveway that should not be allowed in a residential area, not to mention the unappealing aesthetic appearance of having up to what we have observed 20 cars surrounding the residence and on the actual street of Schreiber. Schreiber is one of the main entrances into the subdivision off of a busy Roselle Road. With the amount of cars this business has parked on both sides of Schreiber poses a traffic hazard for the whole community. Please be mindful of what this type of environment would pose to a quiet residential neighborhood that cares and values its surroundings and properties. We are completely opposed to this change and ask you to please consider not allowing this zone change. Howard Morala, 335 Schreiber Avenue. Hi, this is a voicemail, so it's transcribed. Hi, I'm calling regarding a letter I got in the mail regarding a business that may go in on Schreiber and Roselle Road. Although I have nothing against your neighbors, I would like to keep the residential area in the street I live on. I'd like to voice my concern about any business that is going in on Schreiber and Roselle Road. Thank you. I hope this is included in the minutes. The second is from Dino and Adriana Salerno. They forwarded an email and said, hi, I am also a resident in the neighborhood where the rezoning is being requested. I agree with all the points that my neighbor made below, and I would like you to consider this as mine and my husband's opposition as well. Please confirm receipt of this email. And the email that they forwarded. Hi, I am a resident of the neighborhood where the proposed rezoning of the house on the corner of Roselle Road and Schreiber is being considered. I listened to the board discussions from your March 13th meeting, and I would like to add some additional commentary. First and foremost, I do not want a parking lot as an entrance to my neighborhood. If you are familiar with this area, this was the start of the old Candy Cane Lane in Roselle, and the house directly across the street does an awesome job each year welcoming visitors into our neighborhood to view the light displays. While Candy Cane Lane is no longer, this house is an example of what I want the entrance to my subdivision to represent. A parking lot with cars going in and out of a very tight road will depreciate the overall value of the subdivision, which includes older homes as well as newer homes in the Rosewood subdivision and up through Washington Court. This is the primary entrance to our subdivision, and I don't want any businesses located there. I also know this individual and where her business is located, her current business is located. My neighbor has his printing business next to her and has complained to the landlord about how she throws trash outside of the garbage bins. These Molly maids bring the garbage from homes back to the business, and there is a lot of garbage bags. I would expect that the same process that they have today with their commercial location is going to be the case at this property as well, which means a large dumpster also on the premise to remove the trash. This is absolutely unacceptable. She failed to mention anything about the trash dumpster she uses today at her commercial location during the meeting. In addition, the speed on Roselle Road coming into the turn at Schreiber is 40 miles per hour, and people don't slow down until after Schreiber coming into downtown Roselle. I have experienced many occasions where people take that corner very fast because of the speed on Roselle Road and the turn is very tight. During her rush hour in the morning of over 20 cars going in and out of that small driveway, there will be an accident. When Alice lived there, her sister would stand outside the driveway, making sure that no cars were coming from Roselle Road. That is how close this driveway is to Roselle Road and drivers turning onto Schreiber. This isn't a home daycare business or a home salon. This is a commercial business that should be in a commercial location. There will be cars, a large parking lot, garbage receptacles. This isn't something you can hide with a 10-foot fence. I'm all for promoting businesses in Roselle, but there are other commercial locations available across the street from this house and within downtown Roselle. This is our neighborhood, our homes, our livelihood. This individual knew what she was doing when she bought this property in spite of what she said at the meeting about making mistakes in business. She has been in business for over 20 years and understands what it takes to run a business and rent commercial property. It was not until the neighbors reacted to the craziness of the morning commute one day that she sent letters around to the adjoining neighbors. Had we all not raised awareness of this issue, she would have gone through the proper channels to zone this property as commercial. She got caught. I asked the village board to reject this request for commercial zoning in our neighborhood. This isn't an essential business like a fire station or a police station. And again, this is not a home-based business, which I am all for to allow people to achieve their dreams. This is a commercial business that needs to be in a commercial area, not our subdivision. Maya Malloy, 363 Candlelight Court. The next is from David Strykowski and Jacqueline King. Although my wife and I will not be able to attend the public meeting regarding the 1900 South Roselle Road property on May 2nd, we would appreciate our comments being read into the public meeting minutes at the meeting on May 2nd. Thank you. As residents of Roselle and homeowners within the neighborhood affected by the purchase of 1900 South Roselle Road by Molly Maid, it's hard to believe that we are yet again reaching out to the city of Roselle regarding a business looking to operate within our residential neighborhood. This is not what the residents of this neighborhood want, nor would any resident in Roselle want this to happen in their own neighborhood. Either two things happened when the owners of Molly Maid bought this property. One, the owners did not do their due diligence and made an uninformed decision to purchase this property that is not meant for business operations. Two, the owners made a calculated decision to purchase this property and run a business from a residential property with the expectation of getting it rezoned only after purchasing it. We are not going to speculate beyond this, but regardless, this property should not be allowed to be used to operate a business. Molly Maid already demonstrated how disruptive their business can be to the residents of this neighborhood when they first opened for business at 1900 South Roselle Road after their recent purchase of the property. Their plans to improve the property with a parking lot, lighting, increased traffic, etc., would diminish the appeal of this neighborhood, have a major impact on the neighbors in the immediate vicinity to the property, and have a negative impact on those who live within the neighborhood every time they enter or exit via Schreiber Avenue. If the city of Roselle is to grant Molly Maid's request to run their business from this property, this sets a bad precedent for any future business owners eager to purchase a residential property looking to rezone it for their business operations in the city of Roselle. This goes against the purpose of zoning the area as residential in the first place. Residents move to this neighborhood to be surrounded by other families, raise children, and/or live out their lives amongst neighbors, not businesses. We are not against Molly Maid moving their business to Roselle. In fact, we welcome Molly Maid to move their business to Roselle, but instead of operating within a residential area, moving to one of the many vacant commercial spaces already currently zoned for business operations. Many of these spaces have parking lots, lighting, and indoor space for Molly Maid to run their operations as desired. Clearly, there were and still are other options for Molly Maid, and allowing them to operate their business in our residential neighborhood should not be one of them. James Heisler, 417 Marion. I'm in favor of keeping the property for a single family residence and not for a convenient shopping center. There are plenty of vacant units in the shopping center across the street and in the area. It appears that they are looking for a place to park all their vehicles and not a residence. Even if the current petitioner is well-meaning, one zone for a convenient shopping center, what happens in the future with different owners? Please keep the west side of Roselle Road residential. Sarah Von Dam. We spent a lot of time driving and walking around the neighborhood before purchasing a home in Roselle. Schreiber Avenue is a part of a beautiful family neighborhood of single-family homes in a good school district. The homes along Roselle Road are single-family homes as well. There are lots of kids here and it is a great family neighborhood. We have been very happy since moving to this area. The home at 1900 Roselle Road is a single-family home. We had no desire to purchase a home with a shopping center or business at the end of the block and would never have purchased our house knowing that someone would create a business with a fleet of cars coming in and out of our residential street. I'm now regretting our decision because if this is approved, residents trying to get out of Schreiber Avenue onto Roselle will be in the midst of a fleet of vehicles, which did happen when the business opened at this location. Not exactly a safe situation or helpful to property values. The ask for forgiveness rather than permission way in which this happened is no excuse for this to be approved. We put in a fence, we got a permit, we followed the rules. Everyone knows that there are rules. There are office spaces available for businesses. If this were a business lot, the driveway would be on Roselle Road, not located on a residential side street with a single family home on the property. We are not talking about one or two extra cars. It is a fleet of vehicles on our street. What happens to this space in a few years if the owners move? What type of businesses might move into this space? It's so frustrating. Look at the lot and the surrounding homes. These are single family homes, period. Please respect and maintain that for the many people who live in this residential neighborhood. Yeah. Susan Tolentino. I'm concerned about the 1900 South Roselle Road becoming commercial. The property backs up to houses all around it. If I was a neighbor of that house, I would not want a tall fence bordering me with a parking lot of cars coming and going. This concept changes the landscape of the neighborhood. In addition, there is a plaza directly across the street with vacant storefronts. Perhaps the business should consider relocating there. And then this was another voicemail that was transcribed from Maria Panamar at 474 Lincoln. Yes, hello, I'm calling regarding the public hearing, which is going to be tomorrow. I'm against this property in turning commercial because I moved here for peace and quiet. I don't want any commercial going on over there. I live on Lincoln, so I am not fond of this. My vote is no. Sue Clark. A few months ago, there were 30+ cars parked at a small house and on the street on the corner of Roselle Road and Schreiber, which of course is unacceptable. This is a large residential area with lots of traffic. Maybe some cutting through to Irving Park Road. A traffic signal would need to be installed at that corner. Maybe a review of the number of accidents that have occurred on that corner would be in order. I know there was at least one, which was mine. I would think that there could be a more appropriate place for Molly Mae to set up shop instead of them buying a house and trying to make it work. Anything available across the street. Julie Falbo. Concerned that the home used as a business will bring too much activity to the residential area. Ismael Reyes. I oppose Molly Mae business moving into 1900 Roselle Road, corner of Schreiber Avenue, and making it commercial. I will be unable to attend the public hearing of PZ 23-1109 on Tuesday, May 2nd, 2023, and hope that this email will be considered as my official opposed statement for Shalmatzi Inc. Jose Ismael Reyes, 15 Schreiber. John Fisher. I understand there is a concern regarding the request to change the zoning of 1900 South Roselle Road from residential to commercial. I'm writing this in support of the zoning change. The owners of this property live in the neighborhood, as do I. My husband and I have lived off Schreiber Avenue for nearly 27 years, and I do not believe that a zoning change for the property will have a negative effect on the neighborhood or my property values. They are asking for the variance for an already established Molly Maid business. Per their meeting previously with the village board, they have admitted that they erred in not considering the impact of having cars parked at the property during the day. And as I understand, they are willing to make changes to cut down on the visibility of the vehicles and any traffic concerns. This is a cleaning company that does not have cars coming and going at all hours of the day and night. Most companies of this nature start their day early and end mid-afternoon. I'm a small business owner in Roselle and see no reason why we cannot support another small business for our town. Yes, this business is asking to locate at the edge of a residential neighborhood off of Roselle Road, a major thoroughfare through our community, but that should not make us any less welcoming.
Thank you, Karen. Does the commission have any other questions or statements before we close the public hearing? Thank you. Can I get a motion to close the public hearing?
So, second.
Roll call, please.
Okay. Jason Wertz.
Yes.
Brian Booz.
Aye.
Lydia Galante.
Aye.
Nemis Johnny.
Aye.
Joseph Lewis.
Aye.
Chairman Wallach.
Aye. Is there any further discussion?
I have some questions. Sorry, guys. Is this property in the TIF district that's right over there?
No.
What are the constraints for the business district? Like if we voted yes for this, like would a future property, would it still be zoned business?
Yes.
Okay. Did we talk at all to engineering about like water? The flooding that was brought up?
Yeah, so we currently have, I think it's Christopher Burke doing a major study of the drainage of the whole area. So that study, I think, is funded by a federal grant, maybe. I can't remember. But I was looking at yes. And it's going to assess all of the issues that have gone on, especially with the Heather Green Pond, which is located north of this property. And then we will use that assessment by Christopher Burke Engineering to determine what improvements the village can make and then what residents can do to their own properties as well.
And then one more thing, do you know the percentage of the green area that would be covered with this new parking lot? Like that's proposed on the property?
The business development hasn't proceeded yet. We don't have the development plan for the business.
Okay.
The vote at this time is simply to change it to a business zoning.
Okay.
Commercial zoning,
Okay, thank you.
not to permit a business to be here.
I also don't know the lot coverage. I didn't.
I think the exhibit they provided showed like 3,500 square feet.
Thank you, Joe.
I didn't even get that far in terms of like the land. Green versus paved parking ratio. But as for the rest of us commissioners, I don't know if you just look at the finding of facts, I don't know how we can support any of it. Just doesn't meet any of the qualifications. And clearly the community came out in full support.
I know there were less people here for the marijuana dispensary.
There was nobody here for the marijuana. Backup business plan.
I feel ready to vote.
So I'm ready to vote.
Okay.
Can I ask one question? Is it all as one item, annexation and changing of zoning, or is it two separate items? One annexation, one change of zoning?
So the Planning and Zoning Commission doesn't vote on the annexation at all.
Okay.
All you're doing is recommending to the village board what the zoning should be upon annexation. The Planning and Zoning Commission doesn't have any jurisdiction over annexation in the village of Roselle.
And the vote is not voting for the business. It's only the annexation into and changing it.
The
to
zoning.
Commercial.
Yeah.
So it's the zoning vote.
Yes, we're not voting on annexation. We're voting on the zoning of that annexation.
So a yes vote in this scenario would be in support of changing the zoning to the commercial zoning. A no would be in support of keeping it residential.
Correct.
Correct.
Yes does not support a Molly Maid's business. It just changes the zoning. It's- Any other comments?
Or is there a recommendation from staff? Sometimes you give us recommendations and sometimes they're unsigned.
So in this one, I don't have an outright recommendation. As strictly the zoning administrator, can see both sides of the argument. There is existing commercial across the street and that Roselle Road is one of our main commercial corridors. However, it is surrounded on 3 sides by residential zone property. So
And that was all taken into consideration with the steering committee that did the comprehensive plan. And so, I mean, it was thought of with those other parts of the community, and there were, in my opinion, better places for that commercial parts of the district.
Okay, can I move to approve the findings of fact for special use of PZ 23-1109?
I get a second?
Second.
Roll call, please.
Lydia Galante,
No.
Jason Wertz,
No.
Brian Booz,
Nay.
nay,
Nay.
sorry. Nimitz Johnny,
No.
Joseph Lewis,
No.
Chairman Wallach.
No. Can I get a motion to recommend approval of the zoning map amendment upon annexation to the village board for PZ 23-1109?
So moved.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Lydia Galante,
No.
Jason
This
Wertz,
is just for the annexation itself.
no, you guys have nothing to do.
We don't vote on annexation.
That's what she just said, but she just said that,
Yes,
Zoning map.
zoning upon annexation.
no.
Nimitz Johnny,
No.
Joseph Lewis,
No.
Brian Booz,
No.
Chairman Wallach.
No. The next item on our agenda is old business. Is there any?
We will have a meeting next month.
Is there any new business?
I don't have it.
I have a motion to adjourn the meeting.
Make that motion.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Meeting adjourned.
Sorry, the way you questioned that second part